South Africa is known as the Rainbow Nation, but in reality it's more black and white. And somewhere in between, almost 5 million coloured people. That's 8.8% of the population according to Statistics South Africa. The term itself is contested. Some accept it as a legitimate racial and cultural identity, while others accept it as a placeholder for not being white but also not being black either. Particularly for the people of Cape Town, where coloured people make up about half of the city's population.
I know there are a few people that have a problem with the term coloured. I have a problem with the term coloured too, but if I have to, for statistical purposes, then I guess I'm coloured, because somehow along the line we forgot to change that tick box. We didn't post-democracy see to that. We didn't look at too much of the integration into society of brown people.
Mushfiqa Botha and her husband Nazim Davids grew up in different generations. Davids was mobilizing his classmates in the 1976 student uprisings. Botha was 20 years old at South Africa's first democratic elections in 1994. They identify as Muslim coloured people, and they both agree that apartheid has had long-lasting effects on the psyche of coloured people. The system of segregation often pitting black and coloured people against each other. And still today, in recent protests in Cape Town, poor black and coloured people clash, fighting over land and economic resources.
Cape Town is divided, without a doubt. Racist, yes. I think the scary part is here, is that there are powers that be that is perpetuating that divide, that sense of racism, deliberately stirring tensions between groups.
There was reverence to the white man, and when the white man, in the most derogatory term, referred to a black person with by the K word, that is what the Ya Boss mentality did. It did exactly the same. Why? I needed to be in your good books. So if you called him a K, then that is what he must be.
Across the city, a young family with 2 young girls is coming to terms with explaining race and identity. Nolene and Brent Miller were in high school during apartheid, but were free to attend open universities and colleges and find work in a democratic South Africa. They're at the stage of their young family life where questions are being asked about racial differences and identity.
My daughter's got very curly, and one of the girls at school told her that you're only beautiful when you have blue eyes and straight hair and light skin. And she came home and she was very upset about it. And I spoke to her about it and I said, there's different, everybody's different, everybody looks different, And that's when we started explaining to her about race, about differences in gender, differences in cultures.
The Millers say they're disappointed in the negative portrayal of coloured people in South African mass media, films and soapies. They say often coloured people are portrayed as drunks and gangsters. But they raise their daughters to believe that all people are equal, regardless of their skin colour, gender or wealth.
If somebody's going to judge me on the colour of my skin and label me, because I am, and I fit into that box. Because I am, I must now be like that, or I am like that, without knowing me and getting to know me and standing from a distance and looking at me because I am coloured, because I come from the Cape Flats. Oh, she is like that. And I think that is that people, where they get it wrong, because yes, I am coloured, but it doesn't mean that I belong to a gang, or I now just hang on the street corners.
The Millers say while they're teaching their daughters to embrace their coloured identity, they won't be prescriptive as to how their daughters will eventually identify themselves. Lester Kivett, Cape Town.